Hey, good morning. It is a spectacular day here in Virginia. It's like 72 degrees, cool air, low humidity, sun is shining, almost not a cloud in the sky, and it is just a perfect day to be outside. So I'm so glad that you're with me. I'm going to give you a little bit of an update on the Massimo T-Boss 550. So stick with me and we'll get to it in just a minute. Welcome to TWC Projects. All right, so those of you who've been around with me for a little while, you've seen me give a couple reviews, you've seen me take this thing on the trails. You probably see it in just about every single video because I use it all the time around the property. It's a perfect little truckster, and it gets me around and hauls stuff around as I need it. So I've had some comments and some questions about, can you show us how some of the things work and operate? I've also had, I don't know how many, maybe a half dozen people or so have said they've either bought one or they were trying to buy one. So I'm glad this is helpful. I'll do some more of these since it seems to be of value to people. And I thought I would, while it's still a little bit clean today, probably won't be clean for too much longer once we get back on some of the trails now that we've got them cleared a bit. So I figured I'd walk you around. I'd show you what are some of the things that I use the most, or what things I like about it, a few things I don't love about it. Not perfect, right? But it's been a great vehicle. So let's get started, all right? I did a video before, and I'll probably, where I walked around and kind of pointed out all the different things. I don't know that I'll do all of that, but I'll put a link in the description so you can kind of see. But I did want to show you how to use some of the things and some of the things I like the most about it. So one of the things that may sound kind of silly, but I do like the fact that it has so many places and compartments to store stuff in. I know that sounds silly. I'm like a mom with a minivan, but there's a reason, right? So first and foremost, really, and I'm always throwing my phone in there. And cups in here, which is real nice. But I also like that this thing is also, as it folds away, and I've added a seat belt down here so that I can have somebody in the middle. In fact, for the most part, I don't use it too much, but occasionally I do, and I love to have it to squeeze a third person in there, and it works pretty well. And that's partly why I put the grab bar in here too, because that person in the middle doesn't have any side handles or anything. Like there's a nice handle up there that they can hold on to. So this grab bar does a really great job of making you feel secure and kind of manage yourself as the thing is bouncing around and you're moving through the trails or whatever. Something else I wanted to show you though that I don't think I showed you in the video before, and that is underneath your seat. And I don't really use it much, but there is a big compartment down here that you can use, and then of course the rest of your engine and your gas tank and so forth is over there. Let's get this back. So that's really handy, and as you can see, I mean, I'm always shoving something up into these compartments up in here. Glove box down here, first aid kit. You've seen this stuff before, bear mace and some first aid stuff. Tape measure, I always get a tape measure around, I need it for something. And then you've got some little ports too down here. You got a regular 12 volt lighter type port. And you've got, let's see what's in this one, USB ports. I don't know if there's anything else. Yeah, the other one's just a plug. So you got a USB port. And then the switches here. So, I'm gonna put my glasses on, I can't see what I'm telling you here. You get your winch in and out, which you can use. This is real nice. And this is the rear lock differential. And so, when your rear differential is engaged, obviously, and you start to turn, one wheel's not turning as much as the other, right? The outside wheel has to turn more as you turn corners, and on grass or on your blacktop driveway or even a gravel driveway, it's going to kind of tear up a little bit because one wheel's not turning as much as the other, so it's kind of digging stuff up. So you don't want that. So you can disengage that, and then you can also engage it if you need it. And sometimes when I'm, if I'm going really off-road or I'm going through, a lot of loose rocks, going up hills and so forth, I'll have that engaged. And then of course you've seen over here before, I've shown you to the two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive. And then if you're in four-wheel drive, then you can flip this over and you can even lock your front differential as well. So all, both front and rear are locked, and that engages all four wheels evenly. But most of the time I just use it in two-wheel or four-wheel drive, and I usually leave the rear differential unlocked. And then of course I've got headlights and high beam. I've added in, this is my light bar up above, so I put that switch in. Nice on the column shifter. This is one thing I will say. So this shifter works really well most of the time. I really like it, and it's up out of the way so that your person in the middle can have room for their feet and knees. But sometimes when you're trying to get it into gear or get it out, it'll give you a little trouble. Not too often, I'd say, maybe 1 out of 10 times, but not a big deal. You just kind of roll, you kind of put it back in gear and you move forward a little bit more, and then you just don't want to jam it too far. But most of the time, it just took some breaking in time. I think when I got it brand new, it really was stiff, and I was concerned about it, and then it just got better and better. So it works pretty well, though. What else can I tell you? Of course, always have the brake on, because even though this thing is, even if you leave it in gear, which is okay, it's a centrifugal clutch, so it's still not engaged. It'll roll. It's basically in neutral all the time when the throttle isn't pushed down enough to engage that centrifugal belt, that belt under that centrifugal clutch, excuse me. So always remember to, that's the rookie mistake. Every time I let people borrow it, I hear them trying to take off and they're like, it's not going, and I'm like, you got the brake on, you're going to burn it up. So easy mistake to make that a lot of people do it first, but you get used to it and then it becomes a habit. What else? You got blinkers here, left and right, and when you engage those on the front, they're kind of hidden down here. But here's your blinker on one side and your blinker on the other side, and then of course in the back you've got your blinkers here and here. In fact, I'll turn them on in a minute so you can see them, because they turn on red, and but what I did notice is there's no backup lights. There's a backup beeper when you put it into reverse. It'll beep beep beep, and of course I disengaged that first week I had it. But the blinkers also beep, which is nice, and those still work. I didn't unhook the beeper, I just unhooked the reverse part. So I may reroute that reverse wire and put a backup light on. I just never got around to it. I actually bought one. But I'm not usually using it at nighttime, and if I am, I'm rarely going backwards. So anyway, that's all good. What else can I tell you about the controls? Of course, normal, foot and brake. Unlike, when you first drive one of these things, you got to get used to, if you've driven snowmobiles, you kind of know what it's like sometimes when you start to take off and it doesn't engage at first, and then when it does, you can kind of feel it. This is a little, like if you take off with this, sometimes people have this tendency, if they give it gas and it doesn't move, they give it a lot more gas. And it just takes a second for that clutch to spin up. So, when you're first time driving this, you'll figure it out. I mean, honestly, it's not that hard, but it is a little unusual. It's not like a car or a tractor, the way it engages, just because of that clutch. So, see what else. So, of course, I told you I added a few features. Now, it came with most everything that you would want, including, the mirrors, the windshield. Windshield's great because you can adjust this and fold it out. And I think in one of the comments I told somebody, they asked about taking the windshield off. Now, I'm not sure why you'd want to, unless you're replacing it, but somebody wanted to anyway. So yes, it can come off, but of course you've got to take out a bunch of different screws, here, here and here. But honestly, I've never had a need to because of this adjustment. And I think I told him they could go 1.5 inches and 3 inches, but I was mistaken. It's like 3 inches and 5 or 6 inches. So I can adjust that. Let me show you what that looks like. And when this is closed as well, what's real nice, hopefully you can see here, there's a nice rubber bead that seals on here. So I've never had water, even if I've been in the rain or, not pouring rain, but, water's not coming in through here. Even cold air in the wintertime, because I definitely drive this in the snow and in the wintertime. And having the windshield closed tight is a must. But let's see if I can do this. There we go. So there's one. And it looks like it goes out about, looks like it goes out about 6 inches. So pretty nice. Lots of airflow. This little guy here is just for my GoPro, if you're wondering what that is. This wire is going up and goes underneath and goes up to my my light bar on the top, which is fantastic. When you're in the pitch black in the woods, you love having that. It makes a big difference. I've got a video I did a while back too, where I showed you with the lights on and lights off, driving up through the driveway even here in the woods, and it wasn't even completely dark yet, and it made such a big difference. So these headlights are fine, but they don't work as well as that beast. So you definitely feel like you have full visibility with that thing. Of course, the winch is always a real nice thing. I fortunately haven't needed it yet to get myself out of a bad situation, but I have used it, as you've seen, pulling logs and pulling various things that I needed to pull from, you know, just things I just couldn't lift. And that was really mainly before I had the tractor, but again, it's a sense of comfort to know you have it in case you really got in a bad position. You can pull it out, wrap it around a tree, and then pull your UTV out. It's a 3,500 pound winch, and the UTV is about 1,100, 1,200 pounds, I guess, with fuel in it. And so that works well, and it does what you need it to do. Bull bar is nice in case you run into something, and it looks like something's been hit here before, so it's nice to know that's on there. It protects the front end of your UTV. I love the A-frame, a double A-frame wishbone suspension here. I think that's what that's called. And with a McPherson style strut, coilover struts with adjustable tension control. You know, splash guards down here. What else? I don't know if you can see it from that side. Hopefully you can see it through. Nice rims, ventilated rotors all the way around, all four wheels. Great tires. These have been fantastic. They don't look like they're worn at all. Of course, I'll have to turn on the UTV so I can show you how many miles and hours. I don't do a lot of riding in it. It's usually, like I said, just around the property, but you can see the ventilated brakes in the back too. Same with the struts. Same with the dual A-frame, or wishbone, whatever they call that. What else can I show you back here? Of course, it has all this solid square tubing, gives you rigidity. All solid steel here as well. Done a nice job. I mean, it's very much, there's like a lot of car technology, I think, in the design of this. And of course, you can release your bed. I probably should, I've got stuff in it so it won't. See if I can hold my camera here. So it's a little bit of a hydraulic. All right. Oh, yeah, stuff's falling now. So you can put one on the other side too. I notice if somebody's got a lot of heavy stuff and they really need the extra help, it comes with just the one, which is really all most people need. But I guess if you were trying to haul and dump a lot of stone or things that were heavy and you really needed the extra assistance, you can probably see over there, just like this guy. There's another one over there and another post on the other side like this one, so that you can put another strut on that, or whatever that is, kind of a shock absorber on the other side. So that works well. And I love, you know, the one-handed tailgate is fantastic, of course. Use it all the time, very easy, strong. I've stood on the back of this many times, and I'm close to 200 pounds. So very strong tailgate, and I'm always sitting on it when I'm working on the woods, taking a break, having a drink, or I'm always pulling my chainsaws or other equipment out on here to put oil in them and gas in them and so forth. So that works really well. Of course, the 2-inch receiver, which I have several different ones. I have some with the ball on the top and the bottom, so I can flip them for different trailers. Recently, I was just towing, in the last video, hopefully you didn't see it. It was I don't even know if I posted it or not. But I was trying to use a chain link harrow, and it didn't go so well. So, but I was hooking it right on here, and of course this thing worked great. Now I often have I do have where I am, you can license this thing to go on the road. I've taken the license plate off when I'm rarely using it, but recently I did went somewhere was driving up on the road. So that's where you definitely want to wear your seat belts on the road. And or any place that's going to be really, you know, a little bit more rugged, a little bit scarier, hills and in the woods and so forth. But just going back and forth across the grass and the driveway and stuff, I usually don't throw my seatbelt on. But sometimes when I'm going on a trail, even if it's a smooth trail, I still throw up these because they help keep the brush and the branches from coming in and smacking you on the arm. So those are real nice. Of course, your gas fill over here, 7-gallon gas tank. What else can I tell you? The oil change. So when I did the oil change on this, it was a bit tricky. You end up taking that seat off like I showed you, and but you can see the filter is right here. And then the oil plug is that's the hard part to get to. You have to kind of come down through from the top of the seat. Let's see if I can pull this back off again so you can see it, because that's the stuff that nobody tells you about. So let's see if you can see it down here. If you can see where my finger's going right here, kind of a weird place to reach. So you can see I'm having to kind of get my arm down there and contort, but there's the oil fill right there. That's how I take it out and check it. And then, you know, you saw a whole video where I put new fuel filter on and new fuel injectors and all the stuff that I thought was wrong, and it was a little $19 part. So shame on me, but the dash codes were very helpful once I realized I could use those. I can't remember. I don't know if I ever really did a full video on how to read those dash codes, but I definitely put links in the last repair video of this, I think, where I gave the links where you could go find the same place I found them. It lists all the codes and how to read the dash. So I'll start this up and show you what all the lights are and stuff on the dash when I start it up. Let's see. I think I've covered most things. You know, like I said, I added a few things, including a little light up here, just because at nighttime it's nice to be able to see in here. I added this rear view mirror, and that was not a factory part. I actually had to, this metal bar was up here, but I had to drill 2 holes up through, and then the hardest part was holding the nuts up inside while I put the screws in, but it's perfect now. It's solid, works really well. It comes factory with these side view mirrors, which are nice for looking down. You know, when you're trying to see, if you're trying to look down and see where your bars are, your rock slide bars are, and you're going between rocks or trees or logs, these are real nice because you can see down the whole side of your UTV, and that makes that really useful for that. But as far as seeing behind you, like if you're on the road or even on trails, sometimes it doesn't work so well to see what's behind you. That rear view works great, so I recommend that. If you have one of these, it's totally worth it. What else did I add? So this is actually a factory part, but I ordered it after. I should have ordered it with the unit when I bought it, but I ordered it after installed it myself, which was pretty easy. All right, so one of the things that's definitely is nice about this is it's fuel injected, which you know, when it's running, it's just absolutely wonderful. When you have problems, it's a little harder to troubleshoot, and I've talked about that in a video before too. But I think that knowing that whenever I put that key in and go to start it, it's really nice to know it starts every time. I never worry about it. First try. Always nice. And I've had some people talk about something about when I was having trouble with it before. They said you needed the seat belt locked in. I'm not sure where maybe some of them need that. This one doesn't. There's no wiring on the seat belt. There's nothing needed with the seat belt. But you do need to press the brake in. So let's see if I try to do it. It won't do anything without. Hopefully you can see me turning that. Now watch, I'll push down the brake and then turn it. Oh yeah, by the way, check out the display unit here. It's pretty cool. Hopefully you can see that well. And there's, you know, when you first, in fact, let me turn it off and turn it back on. When I first turn it back on, see all the different monitoring signals it has. And then over here you have, I gotta put my glasses on, I can't see that. Hold on a second. So in here I have my, my fuel gauge, and In fact, what I figured out is I think there's 7 of these notches, and so I think there's 1 per gallon, so I can usually tell I've got about 1 gallon left, but I rarely put gas in this thing, almost never needs it. I've got 149 miles right now. You can see that the rear differential lock is off, but only the rear wheels are engaged. The front ones aren't, and hopefully you can see that well enough. And then it's looks like it's in high right now. It's telling me what gear it's in, and if I change, let's see. Oh, it must be the 7. Let's try the other button. There we go. Exact miles 149.5, 50.5 hours. So, you know. Oh, there's also coolant up there, and I've seen it before. When it gets too hot and too high, it'll blink. When I've had it on super, 100-degree days and I'm just idling it too much, it starts warning me, and I shut it off and let it cool down a little bit. So let's go ahead and start this thing up. It starts up like that every time. I love it. Let's see. I think, and of course, this is just your RPMs and speed. People ask about speed. The literature says 45 miles an hour. I don't think I've gotten it above 40 on a nice road, so I think I'm not sure how they got 45. Maybe they put a little bit higher octane gas in it or something, but I'm using regular 87 octane gas, and so the most I tried it 2 or 3 times, and 40, maybe 41 was the max I could get it to. It just, usually 38 is what it wanted to stop at, so all more than I need. I just don't drive it on the roads, but I wanted to show you too here. So when I engage that, look at my little, hopefully you can see the little differential thing in the middle there, and if I come over here and I put it into 4-wheel drive and get ready to engage this one, so watch up here when I'm going to press it, and notice it's now telling me all 4 wheels are locked in. See how it's blinking right there? And then when I turn it off, that goes off, and I'm going to go down over here, turn this off, and when I do, my little, my little X should go away. What did I do wrong here? Oh, you know what? I've still got this in 4-wheel drive. Let me take it out of 4-wheel drive. So it's going to stay engaged for the moment. I think I need to, let's put it in gear and drive it for a second, see what happens. All right, now let me turn it off again. Strange. Oh, I'm in 4-wheel drive still. That is odd. There we go. All right, so I just learned something while I was showing you. If this is in 4-wheel drive, it automatically engages the rear differential, just like that. But it leaves the front one unengaged. Interesting. I didn't even know that. That's pretty neat. Turn it off, and then it goes off. Or I can turn it, if I just wanted the rear-wheel drive with the differential engaged. And I guess you'd probably do that if you're towing maybe something. I'm not sure exactly, or But anyway, I thought I'd show you that. Let's see. Let me also show you the signals. So that's my left blinker. Let's get out and take a look at what it does. So you can see that down there, and of course you can hear it beeping. So these are just my regular lights. When I put my brakes on, here, let me try to, I'll put the tripod here so I'll go in and brake it, see what it does. Yeah, see how that comes on when I hit the brakes? So that's your brake light. Let's try the other side. And then there's my other side blinker. So pretty nice, pretty much road ready. Let's see. I guess that's it. So it pretty much does everything like a car does on the road in terms of all your turn signals and your lights, with the exception of the reverse lights and with the exception of windshield wipers. Right? I think there's kits you can add. I usually don't want to be out in the rain, but I think that's available. I'm pretty sure that's available because some people use these, especially in the snow, is when you really want that windshield wiper if you're using it to plow your driveway. There are plow kits that go with these. There's all kinds of things that you can add on to these. Let me show you a few other things that I'm always kind of carrying around. I just find really helpful to have, or a good idea at least. I've always got some kind of ratchet straps, bug spray. Yeah, definitely need that. Pulp hook if I'm sometimes working. Never know when I need to tie a string up somewhere. Oil for my chain, chain oil. Fire extinguisher. This is just a full kit that has all kinds of, like it's a household kit for tools, and then of course mopping, clipping a limb. In fact, usually I have like even just the electric chainsaw in the back too, because if I'm out on a trail and there's something came down, a tree that came down, I didn't expect it. So I like to have all that stuff handy. I showed you the stuff in the glove box already. You know, ear protection, bungee straps. In fact, usually I have a bunch. Oh, there they are. So I'll also carry a bunch of bungee straps in here. An additional toe strap. I have a strap in here for wrapping, like if you want to wrap it around a log or a tree and pull it with your winch so you're not kinking your cable up, you know, using your cable hooked around. I think I've covered pretty much everything. I hope this is helpful. I think, you know, this is a really nice rig. I enjoy it a lot. You've seen me driving it around. If you haven't, go watch some of the other videos. And I mean, I just use it all the time. I love it. Like I said, this is so nice in the hot summertime. You just open that thing up and as soon as you start moving here, it cools you down pretty quickly. It takes pretty much whatever. Awesome tires on it. I think it's good looking too. I mean, you know, beauty's in the eye of the beholder for sure. But it's rugged. It's tough. You know, I feel like it's. I certainly, I mean, I know they make, you know, $18,000, $20,000 units that are really, really nice and more, right? You can pay probably as much as a really nice car for these things, especially the bigger ones. But I've been super happy with this. When I bought it, I think I paid under $9,000 for it, but I doubt they're that now. I think they're probably around 10 or a little more with all the inflation we've seen and all the challenges we've had. But it's fantastic, and you know, in fact, I have a lot of people reach out to me and say I'm the only one with videos on the internet about this one, at least of any detail. So I'm hoping this helps. I mean, it's, you know, like I said, I love it. I use it all the time. It's probably my most valued tool and piece of equipment. If I had to give up anything and everything, this is probably the last thing I'd let go of, because it just is that much. It's fun, it's useful, and it's practical for me. So if you get one, let me know what you think. Thank you for those who already have reached out to me and told me you've gotten them, and I hope you continue to enjoy them. If you want to see anything specific, let me know, or any other type of video. Hopefully I showed you how everything works on this. I think I did. I don't think I missed anything. The only thing I didn't do is pull the hood off. Tell you what, why don't I do that before I quit? I'll show you that too, because every once in a while you need to get in there to get to the battery. I have a big sprayer that I use sometimes. I throw a 15-gallon tank in the back. You might have seen it in one of the driveway videos where I was doing weed control. But I have to run a wire up and hook it onto the battery. Of course, it's all 12-volt system like a car. Bigger than a lawnmower battery, but not as big as a car battery. So I'll tell you what, I'll jump over and take that off, and we can look at that, and then we'll wrap up the video. Okay, one other thing about this windshield, I showed you that there are, you know, a couple of notch positions to put it in, but this sliding track, you can honestly adjust that anywhere. You can get it just, you know, 1/8 of an inch if you want, or more. You can adjust it anywhere you want. Those are just kind of the two, you know, notched out stop points, but you can adjust that anywhere. Just slide it where you want it and set it back. So, all right, so under the hood, so, of course, in addition to the first aid kit and the Sharpie and the tape measure and all that stuff I showed you is in the glove box, I always carry the screwdriver, and this, you know, comes out and flips over Phillips or flathead. So we're just going to take this out real quick. All right, so we got just two big old flathead Phillips, and then we slide this forward a little bit, and so you just kind of push on the windshield if you need to get it out of the way. This comes right up, comes right off. There's a couple of hooks here that kind of hook into the front, so that's why you only need two. And then there's a nice little tray here. I drop my screwdriver and my screws down in there so I don't forget where they are. And sorry it's a little dirty in here. We didn't wash this when we came through, but here's the radiator I was talking about. Here's the oil cooler right here. This is a bunch of wire bunched up and zip tied in here with a, that's the, that's the relay screwed in right there. That relay goes to the light up there. And you can see this, this black wire here and this red wire underneath here. I hooked right directly onto the battery because it draws a lot of power. You get your normal relay control stuff here. This is the little beeper for the backup light, and as you can see, I've unplugged that. There's another beeper behind it that I think is still plugged in for the blinkers. What else can I show you? Your coolant down here. So you put keep your coolant topped off there. Up here is your whole, let's see if it pops right off. Your whole fuse box with all your fuses in there, nice and neat. And as you can see, they are keeping very clean. So pop that back in, and it's nice. It tells you what you need up there too. And of course, that's the cap for the radiator. And let me show you up underneath here. Here's your brake fluid right here. So this is where your braking reservoir is. And yes, power brakes, power steering. It's not like a car. It's not like electric steering. It's you still got to work at it, but it's really nice when you're in four-wheel drive and in tough terrain. Still, I can still manage it just fine. I know on some of these rigs, I've heard people say how when they're in four-wheel drive and lock differentials and they're in tough terrain, they just can't. It's just too hard to turn. You got to really muscle it hard. So I like that a lot. Like I said, pretty luxurious. It's like very much like a car. But that's it. I think we'll wrap it up there. Hopefully I've answered and covered everything you can think of, or I've thought of at least. And if you think of something else that I haven't thought of, please drop it in the comments. Let me know. Let me know if you like this. I try to be real honest. I mean, really the two real drawbacks that I've had with it, one was that $19 part that broke and took me forever to figure out what it was, partly on me. Two, the service, I don't know if it's still that way, but they were going through some kind of issue, and the one person who seemed to know everything they were doing in the service department disappeared. I don't know if he got let go or moved on another job, but that was frustrating, right? So you saw that in the video. But the quality of the thing overall, I think, is great. I love it. And the other thing I mentioned, even this, I mean, it doesn't even bother me, but I feel I have to honestly mention it, that gear shifter, like I said, probably every 1 out of 10 times or so, will be, kind of stick for a second. I've got to either fiddle with it or back up a little bit or go forward a little bit and then move it and to get it to the gear I want. But pretty minor, and it's not like that's, like in a car would be more a safety thing. You're trying to get out of the way. I think those are tiny complaints, especially since I've had it almost 2 years. I really haven't done much other than change the oil and top off the fluids. In fact, I didn't really probably need to. I just, when I was doing the other stuff, I was just checking everything to make sure everything was in tip-top shape. But the winch, oh yeah, I'll tell you about that. I forgot to tell you about that. I broke off the freewheel handle on this thing. There was a dial on here that you'd set to freewheeling. And I don't know, I think part of it was my bad. When I first wound this up, I just let it, I wound it up, letting it come in, and it kind of got kinked up. And what I've learned since then, of course, to use a winch, you need to keep tension on that winch all the time when you're winding it up. You either, I have gloves on, I'll just kind of hang onto the line, or I'll make sure I've got some kind of pressure on it so that it winds up tight, and that way it doesn't get kinked up. But because it got kinked up, I tried to put it to freewheel, and I pushed too hard, and I really wrenched it and broke it off. It had a plastic, there's still a piece of plastic in there kind of floating a little bit. But that didn't scrap things for me, because as you saw in a previous video, and I forgot to mention today, in the glove box I also have something that I installed. Where is it? Where is it? Here it is. I have a remote. It lets me go in and out. And it's nice that because you use it so rarely, if you leave it in the off position, you won't wear your battery down. But this works great. You've seen a video, or if you haven't, there's one out there. There also, additionally, this little remote came too that could go right on my keychain. Now I don't keep it on the keychain, but that works for the winch as well. And to put that unit in, I had to take this box, this cover off, and switch out the controller that was in there. that came from the factory with the one that I bought for like $17 on Amazon. Again, this stuff's all back on the original video. And I just simply connected the wires up, same color wires and everything. I think it was pretty straightforward. It was really easy, and that did it. So having that remote has been fantastic, and that I don't even care that the freewheeling doesn't work so much now, just because I hold the remote and pull it out, and it's pretty quick. I do like, I have other winches with that option to be able to freewheel, which is nice, but no big deal. It wasn't worth, $350 or whatever it would have cost me, $400 to replace it just for that feature when the remote works great. So I think that's it. Let's see. I'm going to wrap it up. I hope you've enjoyed this. I know this is just, for some people, they may not care less about this kind of thing, but for those of you who want to buy one and you're interested, or you've got one, but it's not quite, you want to upgrade or something, hopefully maybe this is an upgrade for you. But it's a fantastic toy, but it's also a fantastic tool. So I'll end it there. Thank you for watching TWC Projects. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and please get outside, create things, fix things, enjoy God's creation all around you. Keep watching the channel. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. If you like it, give a thumbs up, ring the bell to see more when they come out. And I look forward to sharing more with you soon. And look forward to some of the comments. If you've got comments about, want to see something else that I didn't show today, or you just have a general question, happy to answer that. So take care, be well, and we'll see you again soon.